let's just start. It's an easy thing. So Grand Slam, always one of the biggest events for AEW on television. What was the grade for tonight for you?
So obviously high hopes coming in. I think you start off the bat with Brian and Nigel, and like as a wrestling fan, like that nostalgia was fun. Like the fact that you get that reaction just from a lockup, like it was one of those moments. You're like, all right, this is a lot of fun. There were some highs. I love the tag match. The main event was good. The crowd didn't seem very into it. And you had MVP make a surprise appearance, which Tony was able to have a surprise without announcing he had a surprise. So kudos to Tony for pulling that off. Yeah, exactly. So in terms of grade, I don't know if it's just because commercials or whatever. I go B plus. Good.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think it was spectacular. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the AEW Women's World Championship match kind of was a lull in there.
Yeah.
The FTW match, I was kind of hoping it would be better with Roddy Strong and Hook. Although you did get, I mean, it was a great moment. You saw Taz tearing up after when they retired the FTW Championship. So I think that certainly got a reaction. Again, hoping for a little bit more from the match. But even like the ending of Danielson and Nigel after the match when Christian comes out, but then he gets chased off, Kip Sabian grabs the pen, but he chases off, and I don't know why they were back like standing there with Pac and Claudio. I mean, there were just a couple of weird moments that would prevent it from getting in it. But overall, it was an enjoyable 2 hours of television. I'm with you. I think it was a B. If you wanted to give it a B plus, I'm not going to argue with that. But and I'll tell you what, the crowd showed up. Did they get 20,000 like they did the first time? No, but they ended up getting over 8,000 people. Right. Like that's still a good crowd for any wrestling show anywhere. I think WWE on Monday night announced a sellout of just over 9,000 from wherever they were for Raw. So 8,000 people. Again, I know it's a far cry from what it was, but I think that AEW is learning that they can't always go back to these same places outside of Chicago. Right. And
even that's down a little bit.
That is down because they go back there so bleeding much. Like you can only do so much, you're just bleeding the city dry. But again, that's down a little bit. Which is why I think they're taking the Grand Slam moniker someplace else, and they're going to be doing that in Australia. They're taking All In. They're going to try to do that in Texas. Like they're starting to realize, okay, yeah, that was like the reason why we got I don't know what the actual number was, right? They're going to say 80,000, whatever the actual number ended up being 2 years ago in Wembley, because London was starved for professional wrestling, right? So they wanted to be there for the first one, and you still got a really good crowd the second time back, but just like WWE does, you have to move these things around. You can't be reliant on one city, one fan base to continuously show up, year in and year out for big events. The reason why, a lot of people would show up in Milwaukee for a Royal Rumble is we've never had one, right? But if they had it here every year, it's going to have diminishing returns. So, again, I think they're learning, and they still ended up having, I thought, a pretty good crowd tonight.